Hello happy crocheters, this is Lindsay from WhiningRowCrochet.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this hexagon tote bag. If you like this tutorial, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. So let's go ahead and jump into this project. We are going to need to make 7 hexagons just like this. This is just a basic hexagon. We are going to be using a size 3 cotton yarn. I'm using the Bernat Softy Cotton because I love the colors that it comes in. It's actually a cotton acrylic blend, but it is a size 3 cotton yarn. You could absolutely use acrylic. You could definitely use a size 4 yarn. Just keep in mind that size 4 is going to result in a larger bag. We're going to need a yarn needle. I'm going to be using a size G 4mm crochet hook, and we're going to need scissors, and that is it. So you're going to want to take your main color of yarn and make a slip knot. We're going to be making a magic circle, so you want to make sure you have a nice long yarn end at the beginning of your work. I'm going to put my hook in and I'm going to chain 2. This is how I make a magic circle. I'm going to wrap that yarn end around my finger to create a loop. This is what we're going to be working into. And then you're going to work 12 double crochet into that loop. Make sure that you're going under 2 strands of yarn when you go into the loop. So you're going to yarn over, go through that center of that loop, pull up a loop, and then complete your double crochet. And we're just going to make 12 double crochet for this first row. Once you have your 12 double crochet, take that yarn end and pull on it. It is going to tighten up the center of your circle so that we don't have a gap. Then finish off this round by making a slip stitch to the very first double crochet. Just a note, I do not count my turning chain as a stitch for this or any other rows or rounds. I know I love to say row. To me, they make no difference, but this is technically a round. So what I'm doing is I am chaining 1 and pulling up. This is going to act as my starting chain. So in the very first stitch, I'm going to work a double crochet. Into the next stitch, I'm going to work a double crochet. I'm going to chain 2 and then work another double crochet into the same stitch. This is going to be one of our 6 corners. Now I'm going to repeat this a total of 6 times. So this little stitch pattern is going to get repeated. So again, I'm going to double crochet into the next stitch. And then in the following stitch, I'm working a corner, which for this row and every round, I'm going to work a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. And then just keep repeating that all the way around. So a double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the following. You should do this a total of 6 times. So here you can see I've made it to the end of row 2, and all we're going to do to finish off this row is slip stitch to the very first double crochet. Alright, so now we're just going to work row 3, and you're going to notice that row 3, 4, 5, 6, they're very similar to each other. So I'm going to chain 1 and pull up on my loop. This makes my turning chain pretty much invisible. I'm going to double crochet in every stitch until we reach our chain 2 space. In this case, I'm working it in the first 2 stitches. When I get to my chain 2 space, in that space I'm going to work my corner. So it's going to be a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into that space. Now we're going to repeat the stitch pattern. Double crochet into every stitch until you reach your chain 2 space. In this case, there will be 3 stitches. The reason I'm saying it this way is because if you phrase the row this way, you can continue repeating this row even though in the future rows it's going to require more double crochets, but the process is the same. So again, we're going to work our corners, double crochet, chain 2 double crochet into the corner spaces, and just double crochet in each stitch in between the chain 2 spaces. So here I am finishing up my very last corner, double crochet, chain 2 double crochet, and then I'm going to work one more double crochet just to finish up this side of our hexagon, and then we're going to we're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet. You know if you've done this row correctly if you have 5 double crochet in between the corner spaces. So the chain 2 spaces, you should have 5 double crochet in between. Moving on to round 4, I'm going to do the same thing. My turning chain first, double crochet in each stitch until I reach my chain 2 space. In the chain 2 space, I'm going to work a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet into the same space. Okay, there's my corner. I'm going to double crochet in each stitch across. For this row, it's going to mean 5 double crochet. For row 4, you know you're doing row 4 correctly if you have 7 double crochet between your chain 2 corners, your chain 2 spaces. But you're going to repeat this same process, working your corners as corners, working a double crochet in each stitch in between your chain 2 spaces until we have a total of, I believe, 7 rows. So just repeat this process all the way around for row 4. So here I am at the end of round 4. I just worked the double crochets I needed to get back to the beginning chain or beginning stitch. I'm going to slip stitch the very first stitch. And now I'm just going to repeat this process 3 more times. So you work your turning chain, you double crochet over to the first chain 2 space, work your corner, double crochet around, work your corner, and keep going all the way around. And you just want to make sure at the end of every row that you have the same number of stitches in between all your chain 2 spaces, just to make sure that you didn't skip a stitch or accidentally add a stitch. But you're going to do this until you have a total of 7 rows. So here you can see that I have finished my 7 rows. I'm about to work my slip stitch, but I'm going to fasten off my yellow yarn. And while working that slip stitch, I'm going to change to this kind of off-white color. It's called cotton, which is deceptive because it's cotton yarn, but the color is called cotton. And I'm just going to work one more row, just like we've been doing. Chain 1, pull up, double crochet in each stitch until we reach the first chain 2 space. And just as we've been doing, I'm going to work this row, just one more row, but this time in this off-white color. Again, double crochet across, work your corner and your corner space, which is a double crochet, chain 2 double crochet, then double crochet to your next corner space and repeat, just like we've done on the last 7 rows. So I am going to complete this row. I'll fasten off, and then I'm going to make a total of 7 hexagons. So that's the nice thing about this project, is a lot of projects where you make several pieces, you might be making 20 or 30 pieces, and this bag only takes 7 hexagons, which is really nice. So when I reach the end of the row, I'm just going to slip stitch the 2 pieces together, the last and the first stitch together. I'm going to clip my yarn over, and pull that through the last loop. Pull it tight to create a knot. There you go. We have our hexagons. I've already made my other hexagons, and now I'm going to show you how to assemble them. But before you start assembling them, the next step is actually going to be to weave in your ends. Please make sure you weave in that center end. If you clip it, it will unravel. You want to weave it in around the center section so that it stays secure. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back with you. So now we're ready to assemble our tote bag. And to do this, we are going to take our 7 hexagons. We're going to start with 6 of them, put 1 down in the center, and then put 5 around 5 of the edges. That's 2, 3, and these do technically have a right and a wrong side. Just go ahead and make sure all the right sides or all the similar looking sides are facing up. And there's our 6th one. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to join everything right around this center hexagon on 5 sides. And we're going to do this with a flat slip stitch. So working with all of them at once is going to be a little too much. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them away and just work with 2 hexagons at a starting, and then we're going to slowly add more and more. Just remember that we have a center hexagon and we're adding all the other hexagons along the side, along 5 sides of our center hexagon. So taking my hook and my yellow yarn, I'm going to go to a corner and I'm going to pick the chain that is closest to the side I'm going to be working through. I'm going to go down the center top of the chain and out the back, find the same chain on the opposite side, go through the center and out the back. My yarn is going to be held on the back side of my project. I'm just going to yarn over and pull that through the 2 chains that we've put our hook through. And it's a little tricky to begin with, but you will get the hang of this. So that's pulling those 2 stitches together. We're going to go to the next stitch, down the top center of the stitch and out the back, come over to the other side, down the top center of the stitch and out the back. We're going to yarn over again and pull that through all the loops on our hook, including the yellow loop. That is our first surface slip stitch. Now I'm finding the next stitch, going down the center top, out the back, down the center top, out the back of the stitch, pull through the 3 stitches on my hook. Next stitch, center top, out the back. It's kind of like working into the back loops only, where you're also going down the center of the stitch and out the back, so you're only going under 1 loop. You're going to notice that very first slip stitch is kind of loose, so I'm going to grab my starting yarn end and go ahead and tighten that up. And I'm just going to keep going into the next set of stitches, working in the back loops only, yarn over from the back side and pull through all the loops on my hook. And we're going to do this all the way to the top through all the stitches and through the first chain on the corner. So I've worked through all the stitches on this side of our hexagon, and now I'm just going to work one of the corner chains. So I'm going down the center of that chain to the other side, down the center of that chain, yarn over, pull through all the loops on our hook. Try not to pull that white yarn through. Now I'm going to grab my next hexagon and skipping that first chain and working into the second chain in the corner. We're going to go into that chain, back to our center hexagon, go into the chain, yarn over with my yellow yarn on the back side and pull through all the loops on our hook to create a slip stitch. So now we're working through the center hexagon and our second joining hexagon. Going into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and clearly having an issue with it. This is quite hard to do on camera, but actually very easy to do when you're working on your lap. So I'm just going through the next set of stitches, going through the back loops only. I've rounded that corner. I'm going to continue going all the way across, join another hexagon, and keep doing that until we have 5 hexagons joined to this center hexagon. So we're going all the way around. So all the way around 5 sides of our center hexagon. So here I have the 5 sides finished, and you can see why I like to use the yellow yarn. It creates a really pretty accent. I'm going to go ahead and fasten off my yarn. So just yarn over the last and pull through the very last loop that's on our hook to create a knot. Pull that tight. And now with our hexagons, we are going to now turn this into a tote bag. So I'm going to first flip over my piece, making sure that missing edge is at the top, the one that we did not connect a hexagon to. And then all my side hexagons, I am going to fold directly in half. Going to the other side, I'm going to fold these in half as well. You can see how our tote bag is forming. And then the very bottom is getting folded up in half as well. You can see how I folded that. And if you look, you can see that we're simply missing a hexagon in the center. So I'm going to take my last hexagon. This is hexagon number 7 that we made. And we're going to join this to these 5 hexagons. The same 5 hexagons we joined the first center hexagon to. And you'll join these exactly the same way as we joined this first hexagon with a surface slip stitch. So here I have finished joining my second center hexagon. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to fasten off, yarn over and pull through. Now we just have to do small sections of the slip stitch join. So I'm going to join this little section here along the side. And then when I weave in my end, I'm just going to make sure that my chain matches up and touches the other surface slip stitch. Closer to the bottom here, we're going to keep where this fold is, and we're just going to join this hexagon at the bottom. So it's going to come down at an angle. And then on this side, it's going to go back on the other side of the hexagon, but on this side, we're actually skipping a side because we're going to sew that up so that it's a nice tote bag shape. So this is going to go down that side, around, and on the other side. This little section here will get sewn up. And then over here, we're just going to go across the strip here with our surface slip stitches. Getting tongue-tied, sorry. Once you get all the other sections sewn or slip stitched together, then we are going to crochet our handle. To create our handle, take your yellow yarn, make a slip knot, and insert your hook. We're going to go to one of those top highest up hexagons, and we're going to count over 8 stitches to find that very center stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over with your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. This is creating a standing single crochet. Now we are going to single crochet in the next 7 stitches. Now we're also going to work 1 single crochet into the chain 2 space. Now we will make our handle. So you are going to want to chain 37. And that is going to create our handle, and we're going to use that to join the 2 sides of our purse. Once your 37 chains are made, single crochet in the chain 2 space of your next hexagon, and single crochet in the next 15 stitches along the top of this hexagon. Once your single crochets are made in your stitches, single crochet into the chain 2 space. And now we're ready to make our second handle. So once again, we are going to chain 37. Once you have 37 chain, you're going to single crochet into the chain 2 space, and then single crochet into the last 7 stitches. Once you reach the beginning of the row, just slip stitch to the very first single crochet. So now we have 2 handles created. We just need to make them a little thicker. So chain 1 and single crochet in the next 8 stitches. In your 9th stitch, this is the stitch that went into that chain 2 space, we're going to work a half double crochet. And then working into your chains, we're going to work a double crochet into each chain. So that's going to be a total of 37 double crochet. Once the 37 double crochet are worked, you're going to work a half double crochet. And then 15 single crochets. After your single crochets, you'll have one stitch left in which you'll work a half double crochet. And then we're back to our chains. And in each chain, you're going to work a double crochet. And you'll work another total of 37 double crochets because we worked 37 chains last row. Once you're done with your double crochet, you're going to work one half double crochet and then 7 single crochets until you reach the beginning of your row. When you reach the beginning of the row, we're just going to slip stitch to the very first single crochet. And now we're basically going to repeat this row. So chain 1 and single crochet into the first 8 stitches. In your 9th stitch, you're going to work a half double crochet, and then you will follow that with 37 double crochets as we go up and over the handle. After your 37 double crochet, you'll just work one half double crochet and then follow that with 15 single crochets. Once you reach the other side, we're going to work one half double crochet and then another 37 double crochet. After you finish your double crochet, work one more half double crochet and then 7 single crochets, which should get you all the way back to the beginning of the row. Once we get back to the beginning, we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet, but during the slip stitch I am going to change colors back to my off-white color. We're going to work the last row in off-white. Just going to clip my yellow yarn. And then for this row, what we're going to do is chain 1 and pull up, and we're simply going to work a double crochet in every stitch around. You should have a total of 108 double crochet for this row. When you make it all the way back to the beginning of the row, you're just going to slip stitch to the very first double crochet, fasten off, yarn over and pull that last yarn end through the last loop on your hook, pull tight to create a knot, and there you have it. The handle of your bag is complete. So as you can see, I have a lot of yarn ends to weave in, but besides that, your bag is ready to go. So I really hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.